Hello, all of you wonderful worm people. I am back here, the Carbon Flip, where we are doing some research and investigation on agriculture amendments. We are doing a flip on our farm, which has been commercially agriculture for 100 years, probably. I don't know. Can't clock it. I could probably figure it out. It was purchased back in 1904, I believe. Probably wasn't much fertilizer back then, but now it's turned into a lot of it. And I want to switch over to a more eco-friendly type of farming system, and that's why I need to make my own amendments to be applied. I am really doing some in-depth investigation on these castings. First, I need to put the biology back into the soil, which I'm going to do. I'm using the thermophilic composting method for that. Wanted to get it done quick. I've gotten 3 piles completed so far this winter. We did about 1 per month. We did December, February, and March. So those are maturing now. Then we will extract the biology off of those and apply that in a liquid form. This next level vermiculture is, in the future, if we keep the microbes alive that we have applied by feeding them different cover crops and things to help manipulate the soil to whichever direction we want it to be for whatever crop we plan to put in. And it's going to be either fungal or bacterial dominant, so we need to kick it back into the stage of succession every year. Okay. That's what we will do through the cover cropping. But if ever we should need extra nitrogen, phosphorus, whatever, which we shouldn't if we've got that nailed, that's what this vermicompost comes in handy. Now, not all farmers out there are using this fungal to bacterial ratio or the protozoans, things like that. They're just kind of going organically where they are adding a nitrogen source. So, here it is, right here. I'm going to have these sent in and be tested. I've already contacted a company. I can put the link below for who I talked to. She said absolutely they can do an ammonium, that's NH4, test on these castings. They can do the phosphorus. They can do all that for me. And nitrate is the one mostly everybody wants to know. So they can do a nitrate test. I feel like since all these castings have been produced under aerobic conditions, because I watched those bends all winter, you remember me going through them suckers all the time going, oh, this is what we're looking for. We don't want too much moisture. We want to keep it aerobic. So our organic matter gets broken down into a plant-soluble form, the NH4 ammonium form. Okay, so we fast forward through all that. We're going to do the extract. We're going to apply the biology. Now that we got it there, we're going to start cover cropping. So we're going to be feeding it. It's going to create the organic matter in the soil. So boom, everything should be perfect, ready to go. We should never have to apply anything. We can pull the nitrogen from the atmosphere, 70%, and convert it into ammonium if we don't till up our pockets of nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Now, when I have these tested, if I need to add extra ammonium, this is what I can use. This is what I'm really focusing on here. I'm not worried about the biology, right? So we can dry these down. We'll put the biology in their dormant state. This is what I'm hoping for, folks. So when we're drying these down, guess what they're not going to do anymore? See, they're compacting right now. Okay, so if I put that in a fertilizer buggy, it's probably not going to want to spread very easily. Now, I need to maybe find a substrate that I can use if I don't want to just dry castings down. Can I add, like I tried the cardboard shredding pieces? Okay, it works really well. You add a lot of that cardboard shredding in there, it can dry these down, you know, within a few hours because it's just going to suck the moisture out and into the cardboard. Then you just sift the cardboard out. Okay, I'm seeing another one somebody's doing, and I have some made biochar. Add the biochar in. Make sure you sift it so your biochar, you don't have to sift it. You can add the biochar to the field. That's no big deal. You could add the cardboard, you could add whatever, but you got to make sure whatever you're putting in there is going to come out of the buggy. So maybe biochar is going to be our source for a drying agent. If we add a small sifted biochar here, we got to make sure, we'll have to check pH and make sure we're not changing pHs too much with that biochar. We can do that. What I want you to know on this bin is my Euros. So this is from my Euros. Oh, there was about a month worth there, I guess. Not the greatest. I don't know how many Euros can produce in a month. I feel like my moisture wasn't the greatest for them. My substrate may not have been either. What there was a lot of pine needle in there, and I'm finding that pine needle in large amounts can kill your biology if when it goes through its breakdown phase, it lets off these terpenes. Terpenes in great quantities must do something. Anyway, my Euros was here. These castings are way bigger than your red wiggler or Indian blues castings. These suckers are like mouse size. Like a mouse has been going to the bathroom. I don't care. That's fine. What I do want to comment about that is the larger size seems to not be able to mat down as much. So as far as oxygen goes, I'm going to say this oxygen can probably penetrate the larger pore size here in these castings than what it does. I'm going to pull out my my other grouping of castings here, and we'll scooch over. Okay, do you see the difference? I mean, these things are just like ultra fine. Well, this sift is a 1/12. That's a 1/12 sift. Okay, these are a 1/8. So my Euro cocoons are so large, they don't really, there will be some in here, the Euro, but it is not much. So that's another plus for agriculture production systems. If you're producing on farm, your Euros are only going to be needed sifted like with the 1/8. Okay, so that makes it way more easier. You only sift through 1/8. That retains darn near all of your cocoons. And then it's just much easier. Your first sift is a 1/4 inch to get your substrate out. And then your 1/8 inch, what's left on top of there, that's your cocoons and your nursery bedding. And the rest coming through is total agriculture amendment. And I think it's going to store better. Dry them down, store them. There's your nitrogen. Now, you're going to have all kinds of dormant microbes in there. And I would say don't worry about killing your biology. I'm going to say it's there. It's gone dormant because the conditions, they put them to rest until the rain comes. Okay, then they're going to wake up. Especially if you don't store them for, 10 years. But I don't know, maybe some of those can last 10 years. That's so much knowledge, you guys. I can't get through all that. So this is what I'm drying down now. Already when I tried to apply that to the field before, see how sticky. I don't see that it's going to be able to have as much oxygen penetration. You have to sift it in a finer sift. So that's going to be your Indian blue and your red wiggler compost. So I'm not going to promote those too much for your agriculture amendments unless you do not plan to sift. If you're going to do Johnson Sioux and your castings are right there with your that's a whole nother level of problems you're probably going to run into. I think you're going to want to sift out your castings. Okay, so if you're using Johnson Sioux and you see how fine these are? I mean, your mesh for your extractor is going to have to be ultra fine because these suckers are going to clog like nobody's business. When I look under the scope, where I see the most biology is not in your castings. I see it in the substrate bins where we retain that back. That's called our overs. So your overs, I feel, has your best biology. Diversity, So sift out your castings. Then you're not going to be dealing with the sludge that's going to be clogging up your sprayer systems. Okay. So when you're going to be looking for these worms, I'm feeling like it's going to maybe cause you more problems. There's just all kinds. Like I said, the smaller, I've been mixing mine about daily to try to keep the oxygen down in there. But you could see how fine that is. You're not going to get the porosity that you're going to get with these, in my opinion there, okay? This has really got good porosity there when you're storing. With the only using the 1/8 screening, you're going to get more of the substrate in there as well, so you're going to probably have more microbial diversity in that than what you're going to have possibly here with the finer screening. For these smaller castings, these look like something more you would want to distribute at the nurseries for the house plants. They're not going to add that to your peat moss for a real soil for your house plants. This is just what I've learned so far, going through what I've gone through. I have done some teas, extracts, and the fine stuff with the filters. It's getting through the filter. So now when you need that liquid, you're going to have to either let that settle, which is going to take time to let that settle, which means you can't do that because then you're going to be going anaerobic because you're going to want that bubbler in there. So let's go with the larger substrates that are not going to clog up our filters or our, these are just going to be amendments. We're going to dry them down. We're going to put them on with the fertilizer buggy. These are going to be, well, this is really going to be going on with the fertilizer buggy too. But your overs, which nobody sells overs, your overs are what you're going to really, I feel like you're going to be going for when you want to do those extracts. So you guys are going to need some sifting devices if you're going to be doing Johnson soup. This is my opinion, you guys. Only because I've been doing this and it sucks. No, the learning part sucks. But I mean, if you guys get in when you don't have to get the learning done, it's a lot better. I seem to crave the knowledge, so I'm willing to go through the fire in order to get to the good part. Everybody, you better be producing trommels. We're going to need a really good trommel because every Johnson stew, in my opinion, is going to need to be sifted. You're going to want to keep the overs. You're going to want to separate out your worms. You're not going to want to be buying worms every year. You're going to be wanting to take those out. So on your first sift, you're going to get basically your overs and your worms. And then save those, retain those back. You could send those worms through the extractor when you're going to retain your cocoons. Then if your extractor only runs for, 12 hours, you're not going to kill the worms, I don't think. I haven't got to the extraction part yet. I'm thinking this through. I'm trying to help y'all out who are just getting started. I would be pushing the Euros. I will get your Euros in those bends. I don't think I would want to be dealing with, but you're going to have to sift that out. I think that's going to clog up your filters and your sprayers. You don't want to leave those teeth set so that stuff settles. And those dang filters are expensive. So let's try to go ahead and pull out that vermicastings. We'll dry those down. We'll just apply those with the buggy. Fertilizer spreader. There's plenty of biology here that's going to get applied. It's in its dormant stage. We've kept it aerobic, so hopefully drying down is only going to give us the good guys, not the anaerobes, which are already in the soil anyway, but they're safe at a lower level where there isn't the oxygen penetration. Here's where, so let's think about this. Let's buy the Euros. Let's get these larger castings here. Let's sift them one time. Get them dried down and use the buggy. I don't want to be shifting twice here, and I don't want to have to worry about this stuff being stored so deep that it's matted so much no oxygen can penetrate. These look like they got better porosity. Probably dry down better. All that great stuff. Then we're going to use our 1/4 overs to extract. That way we get rid of all that really fine, funky stuff in this extractor that's going to clog things up in our sprayers. When I did the nematode, I ended up, it was a disaster. I applied my nematodes, but I thought, oh, while I'm putting all that water on there, I might as well put some tea on, and I put frass in, like a 5-gallon bucket of frass in it's a pond filter, and oh my gosh, that frass just came right out of there and into my tank, and it clogged up my filters, boom, just like right away. So I'm going to just need to take the sprayers completely out next time, maybe, I don't know, but somehow remove this fine debris and go with a liquid extract from the overs, which I feel had the better biology from what I seen anyway. I don't know. And that's where we are, guys. Win for the Euros. We have a win for the Euros so far, in my opinion, as far as these things may go through those buggies, those fertilizers buggies, a lot better than these guys might clog up more. Both, I feel like, would go through the buggy if we dry them down real well. But the reason why I want to go with these Euros is due to the second sift. Well, really, it's the third sift on the 1/12 inch screening. For houseplants, things like that, fine. But as far as getting some stuff on the fields, easy enough, quick to dry out, I feel like the Euros are the win. Just my opinion. You guys can roll with this information however you like. I'm still working on getting it applied. I have another tank over on the shelf that's been drying longer. And so I'm hoping, since we got a predicted rain today, to get that tank out on some of the field to see if drying them down makes it go through that seed spreader. I'm going to try different seed spreaders, these also methods to get this applied. But this is tower, I think, 3 and 4 here, and this is how much I've got sifted out of tower 3 and 4, and they were only about a month old, a month in my pre-compost. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work harder on my pre-composts. I'm going to find substrates that break down maybe a little easier for these worms so they can really rock and roll through it, and we'll create more castings faster with the pre-composted substrates that break down a little bit easier. This had pine needles in it. So the additional factor that I kind of noticed with these castings was that the humic acid seemed to be gone after it went through the worm bin. I can do a demo on doing my substrate in water and then doing these in water, and the water from my pre-compost just turns the gorgeous brown humic acid color. When I put these in there, it just didn't do that. It seemed to be more of a white color. So I don't know what's going on, whether the worms utilize it or what, but it seems like it's nearly gone when it gets to this form. So I need to do more research on that. Find out, maybe it's possible. I don't There's so much here we got to learn yet, you guys. Please start your investigations and let's figure this out. Get your wheels turning. Do your fine tuning. Make some more music. Guys, we got to get loud. This is a good thing. Let's keep it up. And I hope to see you in the future.